We thought about this idea first time, I think, a year ago, or even more, when I met Dan in his little camp on a teddy pond, and we were looking at a teddy pond, and we were discussing philosophy, and the idea came up that we could actually arrange something interesting, some conference or a workshop or a forum for discussing consciousness and free will, but in an interesting setting, in an interesting environment. And then came up with Greenland as an interesting environment. I thought it was very interesting because I also was in Greenland and adored the country. So we thought that would be a very interesting way to bring people together, so they're on the same boat, cannot leave it, escape it. Yes, and we'll have an opportunity to enjoy nature, enjoy animals, enjoy beautiful scenery, and also enjoy the aesthetics of philosophical arguments. So I thought we would do something interesting, and indeed that they came true. I met Dan first on a cruise, so I guess that's symbolic. So we continue the relationship, and we are still on the boat. So first I'd like to, I appreciate highly that you all accepted this proposal, and I think especially for partners that don't actively participate in all of the discussions, I think that we're very thankful for them to allowing for this to happen. So yeah, so I also would like to say a special thank you for Dan, of course, because he was the generator of this idea, and he was providing a lot of support to bring this whole group together, and that was very valuable. But I also would like to say special thank you to David, because he accepted the invitation, and he knew that it's going to be a difficult situation. It was a difficult crowd of people, so I'm thankful for David and his team for standing and being courageous to stand against the majority, maybe. But so thank you very much. So
I have comments.
Right.
I've got 3 quick comments. First is the American, who's now, I guess, a permanent member of the MBA faculty, although it's been taking 3 years to get me to this position. I would quickly like to thank my Russian colleagues, including Dmitry, also Anna Kostikova, and the students here. Well, we have a wonderful group of students, and I hope that Russian philosophy will become more analytic, and the sort of analytic chess-playing mathematical talents of the Russians will be brought to bear on these problems. The second comment is Vadim Vasilyev has been mentioned here. He is our colleague in Moscow. I met him because I'm a Kant scholar. He's a Kant scholar. He also works on philosophy of mind, and he has trained the students. He should be here. Unfortunately, he is not here. Dan knows him. Dave Chalmers knows him. So that's too bad. But I mean, we should remember him, because without him, this would not be happening. And finally, what we will do, Dmitry will raise some questions. I will sort of say Kane says X. Dmitry will raise more questions. I will say Kane says X star, and then eventually we get to objections, and then it's up to the rest of you.
Yeah. So one last comment. I really would like to say also thank you to Anna Kostikova, because she's a representative of faculty here, and Russian Department of Philosophy is very, very big. And the interests are very diverse, and I think that there's a lot of interest in continental philosophy, there's a lot of interest in analytic philosophy, and a lot of conferences actually happen almost every week there. But I think that from start we got support from the faculty, and the fact that students were allowed to go, and they were supported in having some seminars on the subject, and helped with their preparation. I think that was a big contribution by the philosophy department. So So Anna is with us to make sure that we have it right, and the students really benefit from this project. I think earlier this day it then said that, asked the question whether somebody danced with stars, and I think nobody really did dance with stars. But I think that if we ask another question to the students in a year or two, have you been to Greenland with the stars from philosophy? I think suddenly we'll have a very unexpected answer. They were on the cruise with the stars in philosophy, and that's how we feel. I mean, we are very happy. We're honored to be included in the tradition. We are maybe not as active yet in participating, and I really hope we would be more active sooner, but I mean at some time. But this is really something that I hope will encourage and inspire the future philosophers from Russia, that they're more included in the analytic philosophy. So now Kane, we'd like to talk about Kane because his positions seems to be very interesting, and it is another account. We want it to be objective and pay attention to various perspectives on free will. So Kane seems to be one of a very honest defenders of a libertarian event causal theory of free will, and unfortunately he's not here, so he will not be able to defend his view against our interpretation first, and then maybe against your objections. We also try to anticipate some of the objections, but we understand that some of the participants in the conference may know more about his position than us. But so we would like to cover one part of his project, and that's the part of making sense of indeterminism and showing how indeterminism is actually helping the free will, helping the agent to have the free will. So he starts with arguing that the lay people usually start as natural incompatibilists. So they believe that that people, the persons actually have more desire and want more freedom than the compatibilist suggests. They think that the person is ultimately responsible, has an ultimate say in what he does. So then these lay people are being persuaded by philosophers that actually the freedom that they want is available, and it has nothing to do with the indeterminism. So they can get what they want, and they can do what they want, and that's their usual way from initial position to compatibilist position. But there's still some serious objections, some serious obstacles on the way of the philosopher who considers compatibilism. That's a luck principle. So the incompatibilist. So the luck principle is the principle according to which if an action is undetermined at time t, if an action does not have an antecedent determinism, it is a matter of luck whether it happens or not happens, whether it happens or it happens otherwise. And you cannot be responsible for something that happens by luck or chance. So that's the luck principle. And Kane suggests a few points that illustrate it, or suggests a few, lists a few points. Namely, he says that it seems like indeterminism actually undermines control. It actually becomes a hindrance and becomes an obstacle for control of a person. Indeterminism, yes. And he also states that there's a very strong argument by Ili that suggests that that is the case, and that's the argument. So the argument is that if you have two agents, and the two agents have exactly the same past. They have the same deliberations, the same beliefs and desires at time t, and one agent does A and the other one does B, then it's a matter of luck, and they cannot be held responsible. So that's the luck principle. Now Kane tries to answer this objection without appealing to some special agent causation and staying within the naturalistic account.
Yeah. So just very quickly, I mean, Kane points out, as he sees it, indeterminism is not necessary for all free actions, and then he actually cites, I guess, Dan Dennis Martin Luther example. Here I stand, I can't do anything else, and this may be determined by your character. It can still be free as long as your character itself, in some sense, is a product of your earlier libertarian free actions. But then he also argues the luck principle itself is false, because there can be cases of actions that for which you're responsible, which you can be said to have done freely, in which indeterminism enters. And Dan Dennett has given examples of this. The examples, Kane gives 3 examples, 2 of them quickly. One is the person trying to solve a math problem, say in his head, and there are indeterministic things happening in his brain, and they're interfering with his attempt to solve the problem. Well, I mean, just as I am interpreting Kane, suppose that here he is, he wants to do it, he's trying to solve it, some indeterministic event happens without a cause, but then in turn causes him to reach the solution. We would say that this guy was responsible for solving the problem. Or I think an even clearer case for Kane is the assassin trying to kill the prime minister. The assassin wants to kill the prime minister, is trying, if he does kill the prime minister, he will endorse what he did. So he picks up the rifle to shoot, and there is an indeterministic event in one of the motor neurons in his arm, and as a result of this, he actually hits the target. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. Would we say this man was not responsible? Kane says, of course not. And so therefore, as Kane sees it, the luck principle is false. Just because indeterminism is involved in your action doesn't mean you're not responsible for it. So
if it does seem that the luck principle is false, but it seems that the alternative to luck principle can be developed, a modernized version of luck principle. In these particular examples, you can clearly see that only one alternative makes the agent responsible for the action. For instance, if the assassin actually hits the target, then he is responsible for that action. But if he fails to hit the target, he still can go to jail for an attempt. So he doesn't seem to be responsible for an alternative. So we need something stronger to make Kane's point, and you can actually use some kind of advanced luck principle. You can say that if the action is undetermined in time t, but the agent voluntarily and intentionally does A, and in the other in the other agent, who is a duplicate, does B, also intentionally and voluntarily, then it's a matter of luck. And the action is undetermined. Then it's a matter of luck or chance, and the agent again cannot be responsible for that action. And this brings us to a new version of Mealy's thought experiment, intuition pump. He suggests that there are 2 agents that are exactly alike, up to a point t, and they have the same intentions, the same deliberations, beliefs and desires. And if one intentionally does A and the other one intentionally and voluntarily does B, then it's clearly a matter of chance whether they do. It's a matter of chance and luck, and it seems that the agents cannot be responsible for that. And Kane gives an example of a person that deliberating about going to Hawaii or to some other place, and that person seems to make some decision voluntarily, intentionally, but that decision is kind of arbitrary or random, so he cannot be held responsible for that action.